This program is brought to you by UCKG.
My friend, if you have a problem of sleepless night, or if you have someone that has been disturbed in the night, don't worry, it's 11 o'clock, but help is at hand. Our program this evening is going to help you. Our live guest here, Annabelle, is going to show how sleepless night affected her and how she managed to overcome. Today, she's going to share her story of overcoming. You also can overcome. Call someone to watch this program now and make sure that you tune in. We'll be right back. Welcome to Finding Answers. In tonight's program, we are going to show you that it is possible to choose the right way. Even if you have chosen the wrong path, you fell into a trap, you have been pushed by certain circumstances, certain situations. You know, maybe life itself, it seemed like you were guided down a certain path and it was like that was the only option that you have. But tonight's program, we're going to show you that you can choose, you can find a different path. It doesn't matter which situation you are in, whether you are, in addiction, whether you are in a financial situation, whether you are sick, maybe you are in bad company, or maybe it's your family that is suffering. Maybe you know someone that is going through this. Maybe it's your marriage, your relationship that is on the brink of failure. Maybe you feel like there's no way out. My dear friend, tonight's program is going to help you. And just to confirm that, we are going to have our live guest. But before we even go to our live guest, Neil, good evening.
Yes, good evening.
We are going to show now a block of testimonies.
Yes.
You know, the Bible says we are surrounded by a cloud of testimonies.
Yes.
And in light of this cloud of testimonies, my friend, you can't lose heart. You can't lose faith. This evening's program is to inspire you. Let's watch this block of testimonies and we are going to come right back.
Life in the beginning seemed like it was spiraling downwards. I had so many addictions. I was addicted to pornography. I was sleeping around. My house was broken. There was constant fights in my house. It just seemed like there was no way out for me. I was failing in my studies. I had no future. I had no prospects. I had no plan for my life. And it just seemed like, hell just broke loose in my house and there was just no other way for me to go than to continue the life that I was living. But then I had a friend who actually showed me that there was hope. He believed in me. Someone believed in me. And honestly speaking, before then, I didn't have no vision of hope. I didn't believe that something good can happen until when he gave me an opportunity. He gave me advice and told me that, my life could actually move forward and that the life that I was living wasn't the life that I didn't have to live that kind of life. So today, I'm no longer addicted to pornography. My family's restored. My future's looking brighter. I'm not failing in my studies anymore, but I'm actually doing really well.
At the age of 15, I was in a relationship and I was abused. It seemed impossible for me to forgive him and also for me to start loving myself again. I started to hate him, and not only just hated him, I also started to hate myself. I didn't like who I was. I didn't know who I was. I didn't have an identity. And because of that, I started to have suicidal thoughts and I began to change the outside appearance because I did not like what I saw in the mirror. So I began to shave my hair and I also started to starve myself. And through this, I became more and more closed. I became very defensive, moody. Even at home, I wasn't a good role model at home. My relationship with my mother went from bad to worse. I started to blame her for what happened to me as well. And then after coming to the church, coming to the meetings and services, I learned how to build a relationship with God. And when learning to build a relationship with God, I learned how to love God. And after that, I decided to learn how to love myself. The more I began to love God, the more I began to love myself and who I was. After 4 years, I managed to forgive him and also to start loving myself. And today I'm happy.
Growing up without a father figure was quite hard for me. I really grew up with a really negative mindset, I could say. So in school, I had a lot of friends, because I was a really, popular guy. And I will be influenced and also influence others. And most of the time it won't be good for good things. It'll be for rob from the shop or play fight or do something silly. It was always due to be something negative. I believe the worst moment I had was when I had to really see if I had true friends. And I was coming back from school. One of the area boys in that time approached me with a knife, threatening to, kill me or stab me, and asking for my stuff at that time. At the time, I found it hilarious. The reason why is because I had 5 friends and it was only one person. But within a space of time, 2-3 friends disappeared out of nowhere, said they had to go to the shop. After that, I received, a really hard hit on my face, and I was still in shock at that moment because I was thinking, I'm with my friends, why are they just standing there? And then that's when I realized I didn't have true friends. It's when I went negative and I said, I want revenge. I had hatred inside of me. I got involved with much more things, addictions, fraud, stealing, robberies. I got involved with drugs, so many things that made me even a more negative person. Like it was just more bitter and bitter as days went past. I was getting more negative. I just didn't care. I just didn't care about life. I didn't care about, what people think about me. I didn't care about nothing. All I cared about was doing what I think I should do, what I think is right. So I became really proud. I can say. So everything changed when a friend of mine invited me to a place, and I said, look, I'm not really a social person, but I'm gonna come because if you're saying whatever, this place can help me, because I knew that person and I saw that they've changed a bit and they used to go through the same things I was going through. So I came, and that's when I started to see results from coming and seeing myself invest in my career, seeing myself invest in my health. Every single area I saw development. So today I'm no longer involved in all these negative, surroundings, environments. I'm self-employed. I run a printing company. It's really developed in the last few years, and I really see a future. I have the vision to see even greater things to come. Yeah, it's funny. I see my old friends, and they are shocked when they see me. They're like, wow, Taffy, it's been 5-6 years and you're still shining, you're still smiling. Like, how'd you do it? Many of them actually have asked me how and where do they go, because they really see a difference inside of me.
So, my dear friend, against the facts, there are no arguments. You that you are suffering, you that you identify yourself with one or more of these testimonies, you that you realize that your life is going down the wrong path, you that you have been influenced, maybe you didn't even realize that what you have been living has been a nightmare until now. Because maybe that nightmare has been a part of your life, has been your life for so long. And only when you see this testimony, you realize, wait, I have this situation in my life. I'm going through this. I have been like that since I was a child. My life has been like this since then. And maybe you just realize now. This program is here to awaken your faith, for you to find the answer, for you to find a solution, a way to overcome, because we believe that by faith all things are possible.
And when we show the testimonies, we are showing to them that it doesn't matter the hole, the deepest well that they are in, they can come out. When you look in the mirror, who do you see? Maybe you see a defeated person now, but it can change. As Rema says, it depends on you. When you look in yourself, who do you see? You see someone that always have a failed marriage, failed relationships, always have financial problems, always have to be moving from here to there. You don't have a steady life. But you are going to see, as you just saw this block of testimony, we have our life guests coming. And I tell you, call your friends, family members, call them up and tell them, watch this, because the story of our life guests is going to inspire you and many others.
It's going to make this person realize they don't have to suffer.
Exactly.
If someone told you that you have to suffer, if someone told you before, a religion told you that you are chosen to suffer, or if someone tell you that it's your destiny written in the stars, maybe you think that because I was born with a certain star, with a certain... My dear friend, this star can change. You can change the situation. Tonight you have an opportunity to realize that your life, your story doesn't have to go the way it has been going. This is and has been the purpose of finding answers. That's why if you would like to get in touch with us, our helpline is open right now. There are people there waiting, to get your call, a friendly advisor at the end of the line to speak to you, to advise you, to make a prayer for you, to guide you. And, you can overcome. To know that you are not alone. If you'd like to open up to someone, if you'd like to speak to someone, why not give us a call right now? Or if you're that person that maybe say, I don't like to speak much. Maybe you're not that much speaker. You'd like to write an email. Maybe you say, I have so much inside of me. Will they have time to listen to me? Will they have time to hear me out? We're going to read your email. We're going to reply to you. And you can be sure that you are not going to be alone. Somebody is going to consider. You are not going to be judged. You are not going to be criticized. We are going to consider. Even if you have a question, we have your questions coming up where we answer your question. Maybe it's a question that you have, and this question can help many people to overcome their doubts, their problems. Send us. And also we have social media that you can find us on YouTube. We have a channel there. If you search Finding Answers in YouTube, you'll find our channel. You can click, you can like, you can subscribe. And there you're going to find many, many programs, previous weeks of programs that are recorded there that you can watch, that you can go over, that you can share with your friends. Different topics, different areas, O'Neill, that pertain to different people in life, because sometimes we speak about one thing on the program, but it has nothing to do with the life really of that person.
They have
directly. They have a different problem. But it doesn't matter which problem or which situation. We know that faith is a tool that can make a difference regardless of the problem. So of course, there are people that they may have different problems. We address different issues in this program. You'll find different topics there that can help. If you go to social media, on Facebook, you can type Finding Answers, on Instagram, on Twitter, you can find us. And I'm sure that you're going to find something that is going to be able to help you, right? We are going to take a short break now. And when we come back, we are going to be interviewing our live guest for this evening, who is going to be sharing with you how a problem that seemed to be so simple, put her on a path almost to destruction. But she managed to overcome, and you can overcome as well. We'll take a break. We'll come right back. Welcome back to Finding Answers. My dear friend, we have been speaking about how you can make the right decision, how you can find the right path, even after you suffered. And many people have been suffering, and sometimes the suffering stems from something that is so simple as sleepless night. I know I say simple, but for those who suffer, it's not that simple. But for those who don't suffer with it, it seems like something so simple, but it brings a lot of consequence in our life. Before we speak to our live guest, Annabelle, let's watch the story of someone who managed to overcome, and we're going to come right back to speak to Annabelle.
After I left school, I always knew that I wanted to go to university to get my degree, but it seemed like everything that I was doing to try and complete my degree, it seemed like everything was going wrong. My life felt like it was upside down. There were so many problems coming from left, right and center. I had a child to take care of. Then when all the problems of taking care of my son, being a single parent came along, it seemed impossible for me to achieve that dream that I always wanted. After I found my faith in God, then I started to put everything that I had learned into practice. And once I had done that, then I was able to use all those tools for me to achieve my dream that seemed so impossible for me to achieve. Now I'm a graduate and reaching for my dreams.
So, my dear friend, you see one more story of someone who managed to overcome. And Neil, when we hear stories like this, it brings joy to us, no?
Yeah, because we see the power of faith, and we can understand that it doesn't matter how much the person is suffering, there is a solution for this person.
Yeah, and it's just for this person to understand, because we have here now with us, speaking to us, and he's also going to be speaking to you, you that you have been suffering, you that you have been struggling. Annabelle is going to be speaking to you, sharing with you how she managed to overcome. Pay close attention to what she's going to say, because she's here now with us in live and living colors. Good evening, Annabelle.
Good evening.
So welcome to our program. You are going to share with these people how sleepless night affected you, right? Because most of the problems that you went through, the stem of it, you discovered that the reason for it was that the sleepless night affected you. So how did this start? When did you discover this?
So it started when I was a lot younger. So I just started being afraid of the dark, and like I just couldn't sleep because I would have these nightmares about me dying or even being just close to death. I remember specifically about having like a series of nightmares that were me just getting hit by trains and all this kind of stuff. So it was really intense, and it really affected my self-esteem, my confidence, even like how I made friends at school.
But wait, just one. When you say a lot younger, like how young were you when you remember this, or can you remember these things starting?
I don't think I can really like pinpoint, because it's just been as long as I can remember, really, just from a very young age. It just started with being afraid of the dark. But you would think that as a young child you would...
Yeah, like a childish thing, no?
Yeah, it's just like a phase, like it will just like, it will stop, but it just kept going, and it actually got worse because of the nightmares. And just like, I remember I even got to this point, there was this day where I woke up like in a fright, and it's like I saw something, like I saw like a shadow or something, and I sleep in a bunk bed, so on the top bunk. So I literally jumped out, and I went into my corridor, and I was just pacing back and forth. Like my heart was just beating, like it was really scary. So it's like I really wanted to understand how I could end that, how I could just like...
Do you remember like that time? How old were you that time?
It was a few years ago, maybe like 4 years ago. So.
Okay, so it was not a child anymore.
Yeah.
So it was not like you were watching some monster movie or cartoon, and it was not some monster joke. It was real, something that happened to you that marked you, that really, then you start to wonder how could you get over it. Yeah. But I mean, all of this time growing up, and since you noticed this, did you speak to anyone? Did you explain this to your parents?
No, it was just, I think for me, it was like, how would they understand that? It wasn't even a thought across my mind to even speak to anyone about it, because it was just something that I was going through, and the way it affected me, it affected my confidence. Like, if you don't have any confidence, you have low self-esteem, how can you even speak to anyone about something like that? So the way it affects you, it's like you can't speak to anyone about it. Like, it's like your mouth just gets shut. Like, you can't open up.
So basically you are saying that just this sign that you are not able to speak to someone is a sign that is affecting you. You see, Neil, sometimes there are people that say, but how can I speak to anyone? They will not, but that is already a sign that they are being affected.
Exactly.
Because you are not making up the story. It's not something that you're imagining. It's something that is going on with you, but you can't speak up because it starts to affect the person there and then.
Exactly.
They can't speak about it exactly because fear of what people are going to say. Maybe you fear how people are going to look at you. People are going to say you are crazy, you are this. But maybe you know what you're going through. It's your experience, just like Annabelle, it was your experience, right? This was like almost a part of your life.
Yeah.
But that night, that one particular shocked you. Then you start to look for ways to deal with it. You realize the effect that it was having on your life. So it affects your friendships. So how did you make friendship? How did it affect you in your friendships?
Okay, because it made me like really shy and just really like timid. And you can imagine someone who's quite timid and shy, they're easily taken advantage of as well. And I found it really hard to say no to people. So I was very much a people pleaser. And it was always like other people would come to make friends with me. And even when I started secondary school, I had a good like group of friends, but then there was these other group of friends and they really wanted me to be friends with them. And then obviously being that person, I couldn't really say no. I didn't see the wrong in it to begin with. But then as I became closer with them, I saw myself just being taken advantage of. Like I would even go to great lengths just to please them. And like those friends became my world because I would just be constantly, it's like that problem of the sleepless nights and everything, what it caused in me was like, it just created this void and I had to do things to kind of, to fill that really. And then, so I was really trying to please them. There was even a situation where I really went out of my way to buy something for my friend and it wasn't even my own money, it was my dad's money. I didn't work or anything like that. So I was really like, I was going all out to please them, but really everything started with that root from the sleepless nights.
Yeah. And in your schoolwork, did it affect you?
Yeah, it affected my studies as well because the friends I had, I couldn't really like focus on my studies anymore. I would always be focused, like I would always be working hard and everything before, but with those friends, like they wanted to like hang out, like go out to places and stuff, and that really affected my studies because I wasn't spending as much time like focused on my work, studying, like revising and all that kind of stuff. So then even like when I got to like my A-levels, I found it really hard to like study. And for the most, like the beginning of it, like I just couldn't really like put my all into my work. And then it got to near the ends where the exams were, and like it was just so intense, like I just couldn't handle it because I wasn't investing from the beginning because of the friends that I had. They always wanted to do stuff. And yeah, it made it really hard for me to succeed in my studies. Before that, I was succeeding, I was excelling, but those friendships affected the way that my studies were coming about as well. And even with those friendships, it affected my relationship with my parents, especially my mum, because I'd always have to say no to her just so that I could be with those people, so I could please them. And you know, saying no, it really actually affects your relationship with your parents because they're just looking out for you. But when you're a child, you're like, oh no, like I want to do this, like I just want to do this, like why are you saying no to me, you're too strict and all this kind of stuff. But then you're not really seeing it from their perspective. So because I had this mentality, it's just like, no, I can't say no to them, I can't say no to my friends. And then you kind of like even see your family, your parents in the wrong way as well. Like you see them like, oh, they're too strict, they're too this, they don't love me. Like it even got to this point where I actually told my mom I hate her. Like I actually told that to her face.
You told your mom that?
Yeah, because my friends were saying that they wanted to have a sleepover, and then I was trying to ask my mom. I tried to ask her in the right way, but then because I was afraid, I was like, I need to show my friends like, you know, I want to spend time with them, but I can't like receive a no, because otherwise then I can't do that. So I would be like begging her and stuff, and then I actually remember that day I told her I hate you because she wouldn't let me. And like I even went through with it anyway. And yeah, it just really affected, like even now, like I look back at it and I am actually like shocked that I even said that to my own mom.
Annabella, hold it there. My dear friend, maybe you are hearing this from your child, maybe you hear this from people, from your family members, and you don't understand where this is coming from. You know, Neil, sometimes there are people that they look at people, they look at their children, they look at behavior, sometimes from people around them, and they don't understand the root of the problem. So, Annabelle, we're going to take a short break now, but you're going to think about one of the worst moments in your life. And you're going to share with this person when we come back. And also you're going to tell us how you managed to overcome. Because I'm sure that today you are here to share your story of overcoming. That's just a bit of it. I'm sure that there's much more that we could explore. But we're going to take a break and we're going to come back and she's going to share with you how she managed to overcome and who is Annabelle today. Stay with us. Welcome back to Finding Answers. We have been speaking to Annabelle in this last section about her story, and we are going to continue to see how this sleepless night affected her. Annabelle, you said here that you had problems with your parents. We spoke about that, right? But you also said that you felt unwanted.
Yes.
You felt yourself ugly. You turned to a lot of things. What happened? What are some of the worst points that you can remember from all of this low self-esteem? What are some of the worst things that you can remember?
I think just the whole intensity of life, like everything that I've heard from people, like even in school with my studies, like when my teachers would be saying, oh, you're coasting, like you're not really moving anywhere. And like the disappointment from my parents, everything just in one, the kind of thoughts that I had about myself. I didn't think I was really beautiful or anything. I just thought I was like fat and just, you know, those kind of genuine things that like people tend to think about themselves. So all of that was just in my head. And I remember a day specifically and I was feeling very, very low. And my friend, she invited me to a youth group. And in that youth group, they were also like sharing like a message, but like a message with faith as well. So they were speaking about opening up. They gave this example, it's quite funny, but like, you know, like a coconut, and then you have to like crack it open, you have to open it up. So I remember that was the first message I heard. And that's what she was explaining to me, my friend, when she invited me. And I remember that day because I was really down, like if you've ever felt down in your life, like it was like that. And she invited me and I was like, okay, I might as well go because like I don't see anything else I can do right now because it's like there's nothing else for me right now. So I went and like it was just when I was there, it was just something different about it. Like, and I started coming to other meetings as well on Sundays, on Wednesdays and Fridays as well. And like I was just receiving all this faith, like even the way that my mind was, it started changing. All like those negative thoughts that were coming, those negative thoughts about the way I saw myself, you know, it was changing, my mind was changing. And one of the first things that changed for me was the sleepless nights, because I was learning how to use my faith, so I was able to overcome in that way. I was able to learn how I could, you know, overcome that. And like now I sleep really well, like really well, like I can oversleep.
So, you see, O'Neill, when a person learns the power of faith,
Yeah.
it can change any situation.
Because sometimes, Remo, not to cut, sometimes the person thinks that my problem will not change.
Exactly.
Because I've been suffering with this for many years.
Yeah, and maybe, O'Neill, the person see other people suffering with this problem.
Yeah.
In the case of Annabelle, growing up with this problem, maybe it becomes a part of your life and maybe nobody even tell you. Nobody told you that there is a way out. Maybe sometime it may even cross your mind that could things become better and maybe you just dismiss it. No, this is what I'm used to. This is how life is. Maybe you say I'm not the only one or I'm not the worst one or people are worse than me. Maybe you give yourself a lot of excuses. But that lesson that Annabelle learned the first time in the youth group, there's a saying that says, if you want to eat the kernel, you have to crack the nut. And the nut is normally hard, the shell is normally hard, right? So there is something precious inside of you. There's something good, there's something powerful inside of you, but maybe you put a hard shell around yourself. Maybe the problem make you draw back. Maybe you don't know who to trust, you don't know who to believe, you don't know where to turn to. You're that person that is disillusioned. Doctors fail to help you. The medication that you try, nothing seems to help. Well, we are here to present to you a way out. And if you choose, You know, if you opt to take this way, if you opt to give a try, maybe you say, I'm not that sure, I'm not that certain, I'm not, but maybe if you give a try, as it worked for Annabelle, it can work for you as well. So Annabelle, you learned all of these things to open up, to use your faith. Someone was there to help you. And today you are sleeping well, right?
Yeah.
Oversleep.
You even, not too much. But when you look in the mirror, how do you see yourself now?
I actually really appreciate myself. Like there's parts of myself I can actually look at and be like, that's actually nice about me. Like I don't see myself the way that I used to. And even with like other things like my friendships and stuff, I knew, because there's an element of sacrifice. Like, you know, when you use your faith, you can't just be like, okay, like, you know, God is going to give me everything and all this kind of stuff. But you also have to sacrifice in that way as well. So
it's a partnership. So you learn intelligent faith. That's what intelligent faith is different from religious faith.
Yeah.
Religious faith, religion teach people that, you know, God is, and some people even say, if God exists, or if this God is so good, why he doesn't do this, why he doesn't do that? Yeah. But you learn that there's a part that you have to play.
Yeah.
And you were willing to do that.
Yeah, so even like with the friends I had before, I knew I had to cut them off because they were giving me like a negative influence. Like I was failing in other areas because of them, so I knew I had to cut them off. But then God also taught me how to make new friends who were good for me, like that have a positive influence on me, you know, that are going to motivate me, that are going to even work in the same faith as me as well. So, like, a lot of things have changed for me. Obviously, there's more that is going to change. But
how's your relationship today with your mom?
Oh, it's a lot better. Like, I've been working a lot. Like, even recently, I've been working a lot to invest in my relationship with my mom. Like, I think something that I've learned, like, with your parents, like, you just have to use your initiative and not wait for them to tell you what to do, or wait until they ask you to do something. But, like, go out of your way to show your love to them, even if they might be like someone who's like, they've got tough skin, like they don't really show their affection. Because my mom's kind of like that. She doesn't really show her affection. It's more about like what she does.
No, I don't think it's really about, you know, being tough. But I mean, imagine after she grew up that child and then that child becomes such.
Yeah.
When you change, she may not realize the change that you are making just now. But as you continue, and I'm sure that your change is genuine, then she's going to see it. And that's what happens many times. Sometimes it happens in marriage only. Yeah. One person change, and then they expect the other person immediately to
change.
But if the change is genuine, you don't change because of her. You don't change because of, you change because of you.
Yeah.
And it helps you, and then you're going to spread that around. So you see, you're working, you realize, and I'm sure that is going to help her, it's going to help you. And look, you are helping many people tonight, Annabelle. Annabelle, I would like you to look in this camera and tell someone that is there now, maybe even your mom. Imagine your mom watching us now. And tell someone that is there, because look, one day someone influenced you because, of course, you were insecure, and then you went in the wrong path. But you see, today you can be a positive influence to someone. Because when we're weak, the tendency is to go to what is, easy. And the negative people, they want to push, they want to dominate people, they take advantage.
Yeah.
But I would like you, Annabelle, to look at the camera and speak to someone that is there. Genuinely, what is inside of you, what you would like for them. You cannot force them, you're not going to push them, but what would you like this person to do? Especially those who are going through a difficult moment, through problems, through, trauma, they are suffering a lot. What would you advise this person? Look there in the camera and tell them.
Okay. For those of you that are watching, I would advise you to use your faith. And you might think that, I don't have faith, but you can learn to have faith. Build that relationship with God, and then He will show you what you need to do. But you have to be willing to also make the sacrifice as well, the necessary sacrifice.
Cannot be better said than that. Do your part and God will do His part. We are presenting now this opportunity to you. If you choose, I'm sure that you are going to be able to receive, some kind of benefit as Annabelle received as well. If you'd like to speak to someone, our lines are open, 020-7686-6300. You can call now and someone is going to be able to, to get your name, to put your name in the prayer book. If you'd like to send an email to us, you can get in touch with us by email, help@findinganswers, and we are going to be able to help you. All right. We are going now to your questions. Neil, we have some questions that we'd like to answer, right?
We're going to answer them now.
We're going to answer your question now. Let's go and answer your questions right now. So here we are going to answer your question. Neil, someone says never question religion. But in finding answers, we are not presenting religion.
No.
God is an intelligent God and he calls us to reason. So if you have a question, you can send us your question. We are going to aim to answer your question honestly from the best of our belief, of course. We're not trying to force anything on you, but of course, if it works for us, it also can work for you. So let's go now and see what are our questions for this evening. Even if I have faith in God, I still cannot stop smoking cigarettes. Does this mean my faith is not real? This is from Andy in London. Well, Andy, I can say to you that faith is something that everyone has. And the faith that you have is real. It's a real faith. The fact that you can't stop smoking cigarettes doesn't mean that your faith is not real. But you need to know how to apply it. And you need to be more determined, because faith is the assurance of what you hope for, what you don't see. So if it's what you really want, another thing that you have to do is to analyze. Is it something that you really want? Do you really want to stop? Because, Neil, sometimes the person, even prays or wishes for things.
Yeah.
But the person don't really want it. The person is not really sincere, is not really determined. And for God to work, for God to intervene, for faith to touch, to reach out and bring result, there must be a sincerity, a determination.
It's like a person that says, I believe in God, but the person is sick. And the person even said, why God doesn't heal me? God see that, yes, the person may believe, but there's something that is still missing. That determination. No, this sickness cannot bring me down. It's just like Andy. You have to determine that this problem that I have with smoking, it has to stop. When you decide that, because it's not God will decide for you, Andy. You have to decide for yourself.
When the person that you look like, God failed or God didn't do his part. No, decision comes from you. Learn this. The decision comes from you. If you need help, of course, like Annabelle, we were speaking to her, she got help. Someone was able to teach her, to help her. And that's why we give the phone number that you can call to speak to an advisor, someone that can help, that can assist, that can guide you. So someone can help you, someone especially who maybe have had similar problems, and they can help you. But of course, sometimes we do need a helping hand.
Yeah.
And that's why we're here. But the decision must come from you. So if you really want, my friend, your faith is real and it can bring the result. You just need to be determined. Be more determined and you are going to overcome. Let's go now to our next question. Why doesn't God reveal himself more in everyday life? From Memuna in East Finch. What do you think, Neil?
Memuna, God only show himself to someone who opens to use faith. For example, if you are searching for God, you want to know this God, then this God will show himself to you.
Neil, you can have a plumber living beside you.
Yes.
And you have a leak in your house. And your house can be there underwater for days and weeks and even months. If you don't, first of all, know that he's a plumber, someone that can help you. And if you don't introduce, invite him to come in.
Yes.
My dear friend, there's no way that the plumber is going to be able to barge into your house and fix your leak, even if he will do it for free. But you have to invite him. You have to give him the permission. So the reason why God don't intervene in everyday life more is because people don't invite him more into their everyday life. If you invite him into your everyday life, he's going to intervene. Because he wants to help. He wants to make a difference in your life. But you have to intervene. You have to allow him to intervene.
Because if I'm busy with my own life, I'm busy with my job, I'm busy with my family, all this is good, is right. But if I'm more preoccupied with my own way. My God will not just push himself to me like that. I need to invite him.
We have to invite him. We have to allow him.
Yes.
So, for example, we are going to pray now. When you pray, when we make a prayer, sincere prayer, we're inviting God. We're going to be praying at the foot of the cross. And you are more than welcome to join us. Maybe you say, I don't have much faith. I'm not that strong. You know, you are going through a lot of problems. You're going through a lot of difficulties. Maybe you say, I don't even know if God can help or can listen to my prayer, because maybe you feel like you don't even deserve. Well, I also don't deserve, but I believe in the promise. And that's why we are going to join our faith at the foot of the cross and pray. And you are more than welcome to join us. Let him intervene in the situation that you are facing. Maybe it's a sleepless night like Annabella was facing. Maybe it's a problem that you have to deal with tomorrow, or a long time you are facing this problem. Let him intervene. Let's pray. Let's use our faith, and you are going to see that he's much more than able than what some people think. All right? We are going to pray. We're going to take a break, and we're going to come back to pray with you. And I believe, I'm sure, that God is able to intervene. Just use your faith and you will see his power in your life. Welcome back to Finding Answers. Before we engage ourselves in this prayer, let's watch one more testimony of someone who allowed God to intervene in their life and the result. And when we come back, we are going to be praying for you at the foot of the cross.
I felt that my dad he didn't care. He was selfish. He felt like if he came and he would buy things, it was fine. But he couldn't sit down with his children and, ask them how they were or if they were going through anything. He was never there. I saw my dad cheating on my mum. I saw him being very violent with my mum as well, because I remember at one point my mum locked him out the house, and what happened was that he punched through the window to open the window of the house so he could get in, and the mom had to call the police. The police got involved, the police took him away, and I don't know where he slept, but he didn't sleep in the house. Because I saw that my dad was the problem of the house. He was the one that would hurt my mom and cause the arguments. When my mom told me that he left, I didn't feel any way about it, to be honest. I didn't feel like, he shouldn't have gone, No, I felt like, you know what, he's gone, maybe things can change now. In secondary school, who I was someone who I didn't care about my education. I didn't really care about anything really, except for, girls, and being involved with what you would call fun. Like I wanted to do everything. I wanted to try everything. I wanted to go parties. I wanted to, hang around with my friends. It meant that I wasn't studying. I wasn't, spending time with my family and, building a relationship with my brothers or any of that. It was kind of like I was just focusing on my social life and my friends and what they were doing, what they believed was, cool. I started off secondary school a very shy person, very closed off, because of what I went through in primary school. And then, so they kind of helped me to try out different things and be experimental. My studies were, the thing is, I would do tests and then I would always fail my tests. They would get me these like personal tutors, and when I would sit down with the personal tutors, they would teach me how to do things, and then once they taught me, I would kind of catch on to it quickly. My personal tutor even looked at me and he was like, "Why are you failing? You shouldn't be failing." When I finished my GCSEs, I ended up with 2 BTECs and 1 GCSE. When I got to that point, I felt like, I didn't know where I was going to end up in life. I didn't know whether I was going to have a future. I realized I needed to get help. I didn't think it was a possibility for me to get help until I ended up coming to the youth group. And when I came to the youth group, that's when I started seeing, you know, that youths were achieving things, you know. Youths were moving forward with their lives. Youths were happy. They felt fulfilled. They felt like, you know, they knew where they was going, because that was one thing that really got to me, that I didn't know where I was going to end up in the future. I didn't know what was going to happen with my life. One thing that really stuck out that made me want to change was the pastors and their wives. Because I grew up seeing my mum and my dad always arguing, and I saw my dad being unfaithful to my mum, I kind of saw relationships in a way that every relationship had an expiring date. Every relationship was going to end at one point. Like marriage was something that you would only see in the films. But then when I saw that, you know, marriages, like happy marriages existed, people would stay together, and, you know, men were faithful to their wives, that was one thing that really stuck out to me. I couldn't believe it. You know, I was thinking to myself, if my dad was like this, you know, I think I would be the happiest person in the world. And that's when I decided, you know what, you know, life can really change. You know, I can have a better life. You know, I don't have to fail. And then when I started reading the promises of God, how, you know, God was with you, that you didn't have to be alone, that, you know, I started to feel like I could speak to someone. Finally, I could, you know, open up to someone about, like, with everything that I was going through. I started to learn that my dad was, like, he's human, and, you know, he has his flaws, like, just like me or anyone else. So, me and my dad were clean, you know, no grudges towards him. Me, right now, I know where I'm going. Like, each day, I know where I'm going. Like, I know what I have to do to go towards the direction that I want to go. I'm seeing all different areas of my life, you know, starting to really develop. You know, my family is right now, they're more united. You know, I'm building a relationship with my brothers. My mom is my mom and my brothers, they come to the church as well. I don't want my life to end.
Prepare now for the moment of prayer. If you would like us to make a prayer concerning your family and loved ones, send your name and prayer request to help@findinganswers.tv.
Oh, my Father, in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, here we are at the foot of the cross, because the cross symbolizes the victory that you accomplished through sacrifice, through pain, through surrender, through obedience. That means that this person that is now going through a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, doesn't have to go through that, because you give the power to those who believe, those who are willing, my God, to use their faith. And I'm sure that there are people that right now are using their faith with us. There are people that are determined that they're going to sleep tonight like never before. There are people that are determined that they're going to overcome the sickness, the diseases. There are people that they are determined that they're going to overcome the addiction. There are mothers that they are determined that their children are going to change, are going to be transformed. They're not going to be the same anymore. There are people that they are determined that they're not going to be the same, weak, influenced, you know, to be pressured, to be pushed into doing what they don't want to do, to live a lifestyle that is closed. They're determined to break down this barrier that they have built up around themselves, this facade. They're tired of pretending, of living a double life, and they're determined to come out of this situation. They want to be a happy person. They want to be free, because everything that they're doing to make themselves happy is not making them happy, my God. But you give this person this opportunity to be happy. You are giving them right now, my God, this chance to be free. And here at the foot of the cross, we present their life. We cry out to you, and I ask you, my God, that you visit this person right now. Visit this person wherever they might be, my God, whether they're here in the UK or from any part of the world that they might be listening, watching this prayer now. Let something happen inside of them. Let a touch, let a change, let a faith be born inside of this person that is going to bring a real results in their life. My God, we surrender everything into your hands. I bless this person. I bless their family. And I determine that there's going to be a difference. In the name of the Father, the Son, and in the name of the Holy Spirit. Amen. So, my dear friend, a prayer of faith was done on your behalf. And I believe, I believe, even if you don't feel anything, but something is happening in your life. And now it's up to you. We do our part. God is more than ready to enter into action, but now is your part. And your part, first of all, is to believe. That's your first mission, to believe that something is and is going to happen. Something is happening and it's going to happen. And then, of course, you're going to take steps towards what you really want. Because like Annabelle said, or Neil,
yes,
she had to do her part.
Yeah.
It's not magic.
No.
We're not here to, to sensitize you, to make you feel good, like, we prayed and everything is going to just be magical, wonderful, and things are good. No, there's a part that you have to do. And it starts when you believe, when you really desire, when you really decide that you are going to change. And even if you don't feel like it, but you are going to take the steps that are necessary. And then you are going to see how things are going to work. Because
when a person, Rema, take a step, it's like the child. The child make one step, two step. Every step the child make, the child reach more further and further. And when you look at your life, maybe for 5 years, you are suffering with the same problem. 6 years, the same problem. 7 years, the same situation you are going through. Take a step. Come out of this problem. And you are going to see how happy you are going to be. You saw the testimony of Annabella? Did you? How wonderful it is. The same thing God wants to do in your life. And it's up to the person, Rema, to take this step.
Now it's up to them.
Yeah.
Now, my dear friend, is up to you. Our number 020-7686-6300. You may call now. An attendant is there at the end of the line to get your details and to pray for you, to advise you, to give you a word of faith that's going to help you. If you'd like to get in touch with us, don't forget email help@findinganswers.tv. And also, Neil, let's remind them again, if they would like to see previous programs, they can watch on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel.
Facebook. They can go to Instagram. Just type Finding Answers and you will find the answer that you are looking for.
Search Finding Answers. You're going to find something is there. Of course, as long as you believe.
Yeah.
Because it works by faith. Everything is according to your faith. This has been our program for this evening. I'm sure, my dear friend, that you have been blessed. And you're going to keep on being a blessing. Until next time on Finding Answers, God bless you.
This program is brought to you by UCKG.